Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and the security editions. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to catch the show live, join in on the discussions and enjoy all of the in-between segment hilarity in the comments. Join us or die. No. All right, so we're going to go ahead and chat about these. Of course, we've had, I'm starting to pull in more articles out of our Matrix community. So if you're not on over there, you can find us over there on SwitchedToLinux at matrix.org. And if it's still not listed in the public directory, and I've heard somebody say it still isn't there, just go to the website, SwitchedToLinux.com. Very bottom of the site, center column there is the social media, and you can find the direct link to it. All right, let's go ahead and chat about it. Of course, we're going to bore everybody with the State of the Union stuff as it related to privacy. These are some of the alleged proposals that are being proposed by the brain dead man in charge. But hey, you know, we'll give credit where credit is due. Broken clocks are right at least twice a day. I mean, actually, modern day, that's an old statement, isn't it? Because, you know, we're talking about the old dial clocks will write twice a day. You know, broken new digital clock is broken digital clock is never right, so whatever. But anyway, here is some of the things they wanted to protect kids online. Platforms and other interactive digital services should be required to prioritize privacy and well-being of young people above profit and revenue in their product design. That includes safety by design standards and practices for online platforms, products, and services. See, I have a problem with this. Like, we need to do this for the kids. No, we need to do this for everybody. Okay, we need to have some semblance of privacy capable on the internet without taking to extreme things. And once again, I'm just going to irritate all you guys that say there is no privacy on the internet. Yes, there is. You just got to do it right. And it's limited and things. You're not going to log into your like Facebook or YouTube account, but you know, you can look up what that weird word is on your foot without people tracking what you're doing if you know what you're doing. But the fact that we need to have these policies in place for kids. See, it sounds really good. The problem is now you need a way to distinguish who is a kid and who is not. And you have to intrinsically find and search out more data in order to identify who is a kid and who is not. So by saying we need to have better privacy for the children, you are worsening the privacy for the whole world. Very fascinating. President called for bipartisan support to ban targeted advertising online for children. See, once again, the advertising is a big trope. They keep on advertising. We can't do marketing. Dude, we need to limit the amount of data any company has on any person, regardless of age, to only and exclusively the data 100% required to exactly render the service you're looking for. Okay, let's look at like an online retailer. This is the one thing Amazon does right. Last time I checked, you need a first name and an email address. That's all you need. And then, you know, a place to ship it to, which you can use one of their Amazon pickup locations for most of their products. Okay, Amazon does not need to know how old you are. They generally do not need a phone number. I mean, what do you want? Like their crazy delivery Quasimodo force to give you a call and have your number? No. So the reality is, only the amount of information needed to actually do business. You know, you're a store. You don't need my birthday. Oh, but we want to send you a birthday coupon. Screw you. Why don't you just say, hey, annually, here's your annual coupon for the day you registered. Sure. Why don't you do that instead of sending me a coupon? I do not need you knowing when my birthday is. Thank you. All right. Of course, this president calling for bipartisan support. Says the guy who sat there with like this red demonic Emperor Palpatine like background declaring that half the country is just hate mongers. Bipartisan support, my hiney. All right, but let's go ahead and hear what else. Strengthen data privacy and platform transparency. There should be clear and strict limits on the ability to collect, use, transfer, and maintain personal data, especially for sensitive data such as geolocation and health information. I think all data is sensitive. Okay, all data is sensitive. The burden must fall on companies, not consumers, to minimize how much information they collect. So, yes, I agree with that. See, these are good statements being made. And this is why, while I tend to lean right on a lot of policy, I definitely tend to lean left on a lot more of the computer type things, because It's just one area where they seem to make a little bit more sense in many cases. I definitely am not for anarcho-capitalism. Hey, let's lift all government regulation, let the free market reign. That's not going to work right now because 5 companies control the whole internet as it is. You remove all regulation, the whole world becomes an oligarchy real quick, being managed by exclusively and only those companies. And that's a problem. But with this being said, what they're looking at here is to say, hey, we need to limit certain location. I think all information not required for rendering that service. I think immediately they need to 100% immediately ban all data brokers. Okay, I have not done business with them. They have not done business with me. They're making a lot of money buying and selling my private information. No, it needs to stop. They have no business having any of my data. Every one of them needs to be shut down, delete all their servers, remove everything, and every company that's purchased things from them, you know what? That's your loss. And that sounds a little radical, and it is. But that is the type of sane response that we need in our modern age, because hackers are everywhere, and the companies that are trying to make all this profit are minimizing their costs, bringing on third parties. As we talked about last week, these guys do not know how to manage security. All right, the president wants to impose stronger transparency requirements. A transparency requirement. Oh, Lord, they're going to tell us how they're going to screw us over, and we still can't do anything about it. How wonderful. Bipartisan support to impose strong limits on targeted advertising and personal data. Yeah, we need to do away with this whole targeted advertising. We need to, like, if I'm looking up headphones, you show me ads for headphones. Clearly, I'm interested in headphones. Okay, but if you show me Amsoil every place I go to, I'm probably less inclined to buy the crap at all. We spent way too long on that. This was a neat article from Wired, how the U.S. can stop data brokers' worst practices right now. Well, I mean, the best way to stop data brokers' worst practices is to shut down all the data brokers. But the article actually goes into the fact that the data brokers are spending millions of dollars lobbying to be able to have them. So if you're unaware of what a data broker is that we're talking about, these are companies that nobody knows who they are. They're just companies that serve no other purpose than to go onto the internet, scrape up as much data as they can, build together profiles, and then they buy and sell and trade these profiles among other companies like System One, which is the advertising partner for StartPage. And frankly, I to this day have no earthly idea why StartPage would possibly work with such a company that has in their privacy policy, we're going to track you on the internet, we're going to build profiles on you, we're going to use them for targeted marketing, and then we're going to supplement the profiles we have built from you by tracking you around the internet with third-party data brokers, and we're going to bolster this up so we can have the clearest picture of exactly who you happen to be. I'm sorry, but that is a bunch of nonsense. But these guys are spending millions of dollars on lobbying to make sure their businesses are good. 2022 alone, data brokers bled $29 million while vying to undermine legislative efforts to rein in their industry. And this is a group of businesses, nobody knows who they are. They're just quiet internet companies with big databases. Basically like privatized, like, Equihacks and whatever else. We know how good they are at securing their data. All right, this is the one we wanted to have the audio going, but unfortunately, I'm having some technical difficulties with audio. I would have had to, kill the streams and restart it, and that's a lot of work right now. So didn't bother doing that. And I didn't want to play a lot of this anyway because, copyright type stuff. All of my articles are always linked in the videos. All right, go down. There's a website at SwitchedToLinux.com. I'll link you directly to that article. You can go down and you can find this. This is directly from the World Economic Forum. And the headline here is Ready for Brain Transparency. And it starts out with this nice little animated video here. Come on. This, okay, so basically it's this nice little animated video to start in on what the group is doing. And in this, they're basically perpetually monitoring everybody's brainwaves at all times. So, the computer detected that your brainwaves went into the stressful area, and so your computer screen shuts down, says there's a brain break is now required. Of course, now she sees this new coworker here, and wow, she thinks that these muscles apparently are hiding under this shirt, whatever else. Her brainwaves detected that she's flirting with him in her mind, so she gets a notification on her computer. Intra-office romances are strictly forbidden. Yeah. Of course, let's see. I forget what was going on in the bus. Oh, yes. So the police come in because they find out that one of the people is embezzling money or something, and now they're collecting everybody's brainwaves. So she's like, oh, I worked with this guy on a different endeavor. And so the police, I got to see if I can find the thumbnail for this one. Oh, there it was. So the police are now monitoring everybody's brainwaves, trying to figure out whose brainwaves are syncing with their first criminal so they can identify who the other criminal is. And this is like the ideal office. And so this crazy psychopath at the World Economic Forum starts out by saying, hey, guys, who would give up this data? And there's half of the audience, meh, 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 meh. You know, she's like, well, I didn't say what I was going to do with the data. Meh, 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 meh. They want to be lamb chops. So the idea here, though, is that they're trying to normalize this idea of monitoring your brain activities for everything that you're doing. And this is really frightening and terrifying stuff. But this is, of course, what they're trying to do in the background. So, you know, get ready. The globalists are going to take us over. And onto our final article in the privacy section is who is watching you game. So this is Ubisoft. So Ubisoft is now putting in systems. This is in UK. I didn't see any evidence this is happening anywhere else yet, but Ubisoft is now they want to battle toxic gaming. And so what they're doing is they're now monitoring the gameplay of all of these things. Rape jokes, racism, bullying. If you've picked up a controller or scroll the mouse to dabble in some online gaming, you've likely come across plenty of this wrong think. And so, of course, they're monitoring all this kind of stuff, and in some extreme cases, Ubisoft is actually going to call the cops on you. They're going to be monitoring everything you're doing, and then if they sense that you're, I guess, you know, you tell some bad joke or something, or you're bullying somebody by, I don't know, beating them up with some sword or whatever that you got because you have no better life than to play a video game all day long, then they're going to come out and they're just going to send the police on you because, of course, in UK, they do not have the freedom of speech that we have in the United States. It is actually against the law to use some of these things. And so, yes, the police could actually show up and knock on your door because you happen to, you know, to drop an N-bomb in the middle of some video game because, you know, you're just mad some guy just beat you up or whatever else, which is insane. This is why, like, you want to know why I don't play modern video games? Because I don't really want some big corporate overlord spying on me. What's this guy doing over there? No, give me my Zelda 1, give me my Castlevania, give me my Final Fantasy and my Contra out of Nintendo Entertainment System, and I will be perfectly happy without having some big corporate overlord spying over my shoulder to make sure I'm not engaging in wrongthink while playing a video game. But some people are just so addicted to video games that they just can't get off of it. Well, welcome. You are exactly eating the food pellet that they would like you to eat. Well, on this topic of brain transparency and stuff like that, I do have a science fiction novel. And this is called Synaptergy, and you can actually listen in. Of course, young man has some brainy stuff going on. You can come on over to synaptergy.com or tlm.li/S. You can read the first chapter over here. You can listen to the first 5 minutes of the book, and you can see where you can pick up a copy. I don't have it on author website right now. We don't have a place to sell it right this second personally, but you can pick it up a variety of other different places. Ebooks, audiobooks, and print editions are available. So have a look at Synaptergy. It is somewhat tied into some of these crazy news articles that we occasionally cover around here. Well, guys, let's head on over to security news next. And first up on security news, Weee! Grocery service confirms a data breach of 1.1 million. I never heard of Weee, but apparently it is an Asian and Hispanic food delivery service for here in the United States. So Basically, being a food delivery service, you'd create accounts on there. Of course, they have all this information, probably collecting way more information than they need. And across 48 states in the U.S., that tells me it's probably the lower 48. I imagine that they're not taking a dog sled out to Alaska or risking the volcano in Hawaii. But I'm guessing the lower 48 you can buy from Weee, and then you can get maybe apparently authentic Asian and Hispanic food. Well, they had a data leak, 1.1 million. Let's see. This is 1.1 million customers affected over here. 11 million customers belonging to Say Weee was stolen. So I don't know if it's 1.1 or 11 million. But you can kind of see that they grabbed information. Of course, like, well, no payment information. They just got our first name, last name, email address, phone number, device type, and order notes, delivery, and other information. Guys, I got news for you. The payment information is the one thing I want the hackers to steal, okay? Because I'm not liable for anything they do. Chances are the bank is going to catch it. Or they're going to absolutely overturn it, right away. And it's very easy to change. I'm not changing my names, my email addresses, my phone numbers, device types, and things like that very easy. Unless, of course, you're on like PC or Mac. Please switch to Linux. I mean, if you're using Weee, guys, switch to Linux. Then they don't know what device type you're on anymore. Come on. So just be aware if you're using Weee, you may have been involved in a data breach. It's either 11 million or 1.1 million. I'm not sure which. There's inconsistency inside of the article. Well, many online stores are exposing private customer data. This deals mostly with these smaller e-commerce type stores. This is what happens when you try and manage your website yourself. This is why you need a web professional. So if you manage a store and things like that, hey, reach out to me if you need a web professional. I don't charge a whole ton, and we are very competent in what we're doing. I do actually have stores that we're not doing any of this nonsense. How do we know you're doing this nonsense? Well, you're using WordPress, and you're using any WordPress backup tool that you find inside that stupid WordPress repository. I have not seen a single one of those that is actually good. Okay, I don't use any of them on any of the sites I maintain. I delete them all whenever I take over a site. And what I'm going to do is a completely different backup strategy that does not involve, the big problem is that most of these plugins or other ways, they're making a backup of their system, and they're literally dropping their backups, including their database, in a zip file inside of the web directory. Of course, the database contains passwords, salted passwords or otherwise. It will contain a lot more sensitive information. It will tell you about the configuration files. You can get the salt. If you get a WordPress database, you can get the database salt, in which case it's going to allow you to reverse engineer some of the other password things. You can breach everybody's information. You can see just a ton of data going back and forth. All right. And so they analyzed 2,000 online stores. This company found 250, or approximately 12%, kept their backups in public folders easily accessible to anyone who knows where to look. Backups, mostly zip, SQL, or tar archives, contain sensitive information such as database passwords, secret administrative URLs, internal API keys, and personally identifiable customer information, probably in plain text. And this is what happens when you do not hire a professional. This is what happens when you're like, oh, I can manage it all myself. I'll save myself a few dollars and have the most insecure, data breached website you can possibly imagine. Trust me, I've seen some really, really horrible backup jobs on some of these things. All right, healthcare firms, of course, are facing more attacks than ever before. Last 2 years, nearly all hospitals faced some kind of attack. I think everything faces some kind of attacks. They're not done targeted. They're all done automated these days. They're just scraping the internet for what they can do. But they did say serving 150 IT and IT security decision makers from healthcare organizations around the world, Salahpoint found almost 93% suffered an identity-related security breach in the last 2 years. They add that firms in the healthcare industry are facing more attacks than ever before, most of which can be attributed to compromised identity attempts. Social engineering hacks, basically. And that's how you're going to get in. Some stupid moron. I don't know what's going on. You'll get some little pop-up on your phone. You're like, oh, okay, because we've been taught to fill out any form that shows up in front of our face. And, that's the case. That being said, Salahpoint says healthcare firms struggle to implement tech due to the lack of flexibility and integration, lack of skills needed to make the change. It's almost like maybe these hospitals should stop relying on computers so much and go on back to, raw skills, so that when you have a ransomware shuts down your hospital, people don't die because the doctors actually know what they're doing rather than having to wait for the iPad to tell them what to do. But that's one of the issues, of course, with more and more people trying to rely on healthcare and hospitals and things, being terrified over the common cold. Then this is happening more and more. Makes me, never mind. We won't go there. On our final story, Royal Ransomware. This is one that's been around for a little while. It targets VMware. Now encrypts Linux. So if you have a Linux build on a VMware, it can now be encrypted by this as well. This is not something that's going to be targeting your basic home user. This is more related to servers, large industrial servers that are using VMware to manage all the things on the background. So now their system will get in here and be able to encrypt the Linux stuff as well. Just to keep in mind, even us as Linux users, we need to have a good backup strategy. We need to have offline backups. We need to making sure that we're staying up to date with software, particularly if there is a critical bug or something. This is relating to VMware, although I think VMware came out and said this vulnerability is not, we're not susceptible to this. So there's been a little bit of debate back and forth in a few different articles that I've read. But once again, it's just, am I surprised? Not really, because more and more software languages like Rust or things are coming out, which allow you to easily build a program there that can be quickly compiled for Linux, Mac, and OS. Great news that more software will be Linux compatible in the future. Bad news that now malware can be made for Linux much easier. And if you're going to be building malware for something, you may as well target more systems than less. So that is our security news for the day. If you'd like to help support the channel, we do have a Subscribestar page, subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump in over there. Probably this week, we're going to be dropping our next tinfoil hat time article. So you guys on the paid tiers on any of our support platforms will get a chance to read that first. Right now, I'm waiting for the thumbnail. I'm actually commissioning out the thumbnail. I saw the sketches of it. It looks beautiful. So I'm waiting for that thumbnail to come out, and as soon as I get that thumbnail out, we will be posting the article. And then I'm deciding, am I going to do the whole video, or am I going to cut that back a little bit? But probably early to mid next week or so, we'll go ahead and drop that article on all of the supporter platforms. So you guys that are paid supporters, you will get a chance to see that before anybody else. Also, we will probably do the video. You guys will see the video before anybody else as well. With that, thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.